In this video, we are keeping things super simple as I show you how to film cinematic nature B-roll using a drone and then edit it into a sequence using just a phone. That's right, no additional gear, just a drone and a phone. Now it is super windy today and I am using the DJI Mini 3 Pro, which is a testament to just how well this drone can handle the wind. But this video will work for any drone. So if you're using the DJI Mini 2, DJI Mavic 3, then you can follow along step by step. Now a question I get asked all the time is, can I edit my drone clips into a professional sequence using just a phone? And the short answer is yes. And in the second half of this video, I'm going to show you how to edit the clips we capture at this location today into a cinematic nature B-roll sequence using just a phone and the InShot app. So before we put the drone in the air and get our first clip, I just wanted to quickly go over the video settings I'm using so that you can copy them and follow along. And they are super straightforward. For the video mode, I'm going to leave it in auto, and you can get some fantastic results leaving the drone in auto. For resolution, I'm using 4K so that we can get the highest quality video possible. For FPS, I am using 30 FPS. If I go into settings using the three dots in the top right, for color, I am leaving that in normal mode. And again, the colors you get in normal mode with the DJI Mini 3 Pro are absolutely beautiful, and it means we don't need to worry about color grading in post. If I scroll down, for white balance, again, I'm going to leave this in auto just to keep things really straightforward. The last thing I recommend you turn on is grid lines, and this is to help you frame each shot, which I'll show you how to do later in this video. So that's all the settings I will be using. Let's now put the drone up into the air for our first shot. To start our sequence, we want a really nice revealing shot that brings our location into view, introduces it to our viewer, and reveals it in a cinematic way. The location I am at sits down below a cliff edge, so I positioned the drone back over the cliff looking towards our subject with the gimbal pointed slightly down. Before you start recording, make sure to tap and hold to lock exposure when using auto mode. This means the white balance and exposure won't change during your shot and is super important to make your clip look cinematic. Then hit record and start to fly forward by pushing the right stick forward and drop down slowly at the same time by pulling the left stick down. This starts to reveal our location as we pass over the cliff edge, and something that I recommend is that you go back and do the move twice so that you have two of the same shot to use just in case something was wrong with the first one, such as jerky movement. Now here's a top tip. After each clip, bring the drone back, or while the drone's in the air if you have enough battery, press the media icon here. And what this will allow you to do is see a low res preview of the move or clip you've just got. So if I scroll down here to take a look at one of our clips and hit play, I can watch back what I've just recorded. And this means I can check each clip when I'm at location to make sure I've got it right. There's nothing worse than getting home and watching your clips for the first time and realizing they didn't turn out as you expected. And before we get into the next move, I just wanted to take a few seconds to introduce today's sponsor who helped make this video possible and can help you make money with your drone videos and photos, and that is Wirestock. Wirestock is a service that allows drone pilots to make money by selling their photos and videos as stock. Using Wirestock, you can upload your content to one location and they distribute it to all the major marketplaces, which now includes Getty Images and iStock thanks to a recent partnership. This is great because you have one account and you can track everything in one location. They offer high royalty rates and discoverability, which is important as you want people to find your content. There are no fees when using Wirestock. They just take a 15% commission off every sale. They only make money when you do. So if using today's video you get some awesome clips with your drone and want to make a little bit of side income with them, then Wirestock is the platform that will allow you to do that. Again, a big thanks to Wirestock for sponsoring today's video, and if you want to get started on their platform, I've put a link in the description down below. For our next clip, we want to do the classic top down. Remember, you want lots of different types of shots in your sequence. High, low, fast, slow. All these different types of shots help to keep your sequence varied and interesting. For this top down, I found a really interesting area off Sheep Island where the waves were crashing over rocks. I thought it looked fantastic. And I simply positioned the drone straight over the top of this rock formation and pointed the gimbal straight down, which you can do using the scroll wheel or by tapping the C1 button on your controller if you have it set to center the gimbal. You can also use grid lines to make sure your subject is centered, which if you haven't turned on, you can turn on by going to settings, camera, and clicking the grid lines icons. then tap and hold to lock exposure again, hit record, and that's it. A beautifully simple shot that will look great in our sequence. Now to show off this epic little island and do an orbit around it. There are two ways to do an orbit, manually and automatically. First, let's take a look at doing it manually. Tap and hold to lock exposure again, hit record, and then with the subject in the center of the shot, start to orbit left by pushing the right stick left and the left stick right. Once you get the movement started, hold your thumbs in place and don't move them to get a smooth shot. Don't worry if it's slightly jerky as you start the orbit, as we can trim that part out later when we edit it on our phone. If you want to do an orbit automatically, simply align the subject center again, draw a box around it, select POI mode, and drag the arrow in the direction and speed you want to go. For this example, I want to go left very slowly, then hit go and hit record. And it's as simple as that to get the perfect orbit. Another super simple shot that will look great in our sequence is the rise up. This shot looks great because it will reveal the background behind the island as we rise up. And it's really straightforward to do. Put the drone down low, pointing towards your subject, tap and hold to lock exposure, and then using the left stick, push it up slowly to rise the drone up. Normal mode works best for this, as the clip will be short in our sequence and we don't want it to look as if the drone wasn't moving because it's rising up so slowly. So here's another quick top tip. Whenever you come to a location for the first time, make sure to scout it out on foot, and this will help you find all the best angles and points of interest which may be hidden away so that you can capture them with your drone to make your cinematic B-roll sequence even better. Next we'll do a pull back gimbal up. This is one of my favorite moves because it looks super complex but is really easy to do. It combines two movements, the pull back and the gimbal up, for an epic shot. Start with the gimbal pointed down but not straight down. A 45-degree angle works best. Again, tap and hold to lock exposure, and then start flying backwards by pulling the right stick back, and at the same time gimbal up to reveal more of the background by using the scroll wheel on the back of the controller. Don't worry if you don't get it right in the first attempt. It sometimes takes a practice run to know exactly what speed to move the stick and scroll wheel to keep your subject centered and get the best shot. Now let's add a sense of speed and motion to our sequence by getting a clip low over the ground, or in this case the water. So what you want to do is you want to put your drone further back from the subject and low to the ground, and if you're flying over water, don't go too low, as the obstacle avoidance can sometimes kick in if a wave passes beneath the drone, and if you have obstacle avoidance set to brake, the drone will simply stop in the air. Then point the drone towards the subject, tap and hold to lock exposure again, hit record, and start to fly forwards towards your subject by pushing the right stick forward. Normal mode again works best for this, and remember, if you use sport mode, obstacle avoidance automatically gets turned off, so be very careful. For the penultimate shot, we're going to do the pull back rise up. We're going to start close to the island to show off some of its more intricate details, and then we're going to pull back and rise up to showcase the entire island. It's a really great move. Flip the drone into normal mode, as we want a nice subtle motion, and move your drone into a position close to your subject. Tap and hold to lock exposure, hit record, and then start to fly backwards and upwards by pulling the right stick back and at the same time pushing the left stick up. Remember to keep an eye on the drone in real life to make sure that the path behind it is completely clear. And as mentioned, it always helps to go back and do the move again so that we have two good shots so that we can choose from either of them when it comes to editing. I wanted the last shot in our sequence to have me in it so that you have a reference to show off the scale of this awesome looking little island. I found a place I thought would look great, and with the drone behind me I pointed it towards the island. Then I simply just flew the drone past me by pushing the right stick forward. Now I did this manually as it was a simple push forward, but you could use tracking and track yourself walking and adventuring in your location. And I just think it's really nice to show yourself in at least one of the clips in a sequence, as it helps bring life to your scenes. Now I've come back to the office to edit our clips together into a sequence, but the best part about being able to edit your clips on your mobile is that you can do it from absolutely anywhere, including sitting on Sheep Island. Now I doubt you're going to be doing that, but there are lots of scenarios where being able to edit clips on your mobile is really useful. The app we're using today is the InShot app, so make sure to download it if you want to follow along. Now, I use this app all the time, so I have the premium version, but you will be able to follow along with the free version. Now, I'm just going to very quickly fire up the InShot app because I want to show you what we're going to make today by playing the finished project. So I'm going to open InShot, I'm going to go to video, I'm going to go into our project, and I'm going to hit play. So this is what we are going to be creating. Let's get started. So the first thing we want to do is back out of that project and we want to create a new project. So we do that by going to video and hitting new. And then we want to import the 8 clips we took with our drone today. So I'm going to select them 8 clips and I'm going to press the green tick. Now the project has been opened and them clips have been imported. Now I selected the clips in the order I wanted them to appear in the timeline, so that's the order they have went into the timeline. But if you want to move the clips around and rearrange them, you can do that by pressing and holding on the blank left space on the timeline, and then you can simply click on a video clip and you can move it around. So you can order the clips in whatever way you want, but I'm happy with the order of them. The next thing we want to do is to check our format. If you're a first time InShot user, it may automatically presume you're creating video for something like Instagram and make it a 9:16 ratio. Today we're making this video for YouTube, so we want the ratio to be 16:9. So to fix that, you want to press the canvas button, you want to make sure ratio is selected, and you want to select 16:9. As mentioned, if it's in 9:16 mode, this is how it will look, and you simply want to tap on 16:9 to get it in the correct ratio. Then just press the tick option. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is go in and trim down the clips. Some of the clips are simply too long, and some of the clips have jerky movement at the start that we need to trim out, such as when we were doing the orbit. The first few seconds of the clip are slightly jerky until we get the motion right, and on the push forward, there's a portion of the start of the clip where the drone isn't moving at all before I start to fly forward. So we're just going to go in and we're going to roughly trim the clips down to size. So there's 2 ways you can do this. The first way is you can simply scroll to when you want the video clip to start, such as here. You want to select the clip, go across and press split, and then select the part you don't want and press delete. And if I go to the end of where I want this clip to finish, such as just as we pass over the edge of the cliff here, and again press split, and then press the delete option. I'll show you that again. So on this top down of the waves, there's a really nice part where the wave crashes over the rocks, just here. So I want the clip to start just before that. So I'll go just as that wave starts to crash over them rocks, press the clip, hit split, and then delete the first part. And then after a few seconds, once that wave's crashed over the rock, I'm going to again hit split, and then delete the second half. Now the second way you can trim a clip down, here's this orbit where the motion at the start is slightly jerky, just there. So I want to move the clip to start once the motion starts to become consistent and smooth. And the second way you can trim a clip is by clicking the clip and then dragging the handle to the left across to where you want it to start, thus shortening the clip. And then go to when you want the clip to end, such as here, and drag the right handle over until you want the clip to finish. I'm just going to go through now and do this for the rest of the clips. Cut the start off that, and once it passes me, trim it. Okay, now we need music so that we can edit our clips to the song. Now I went ahead and I downloaded my music from Epidemic Sound, which is where I get all my music and sound effects. I'll put a link down below. And I added this to my iCloud account so I can use it on InShot. So to add this, go back to the start of our project. In the menu, go to Music, go to Music again. I'm going to go to Import it. And here is the song, Gelatin Nature. Now this is actually a 3-minute song, so I went ahead and I created a shortened version. And I'm going to tap Used. And now if I hit play, you can see this music is on our project. So the next thing we want to do is we want to edit the clips so that they change on the beat of the music. And this is going to make our project look so much more professional. And it's really straightforward to do. We just want to play the sequence until we hear a beat or a note change in the song, and we want to trim our clip there. So I'm going to hit play. Okay, so I actually want the next scene to start here, but I want the drone to have fully flown over the edge of the cliff before the next scene. So that means I'm going to actually trim the start of this clip down, again by pressing and then dragging the left handle. So I'm going to hit play again. Okay, so I'm going to play until I hear the beat, which is there. And then I'm going to drag the right handle and it will snap to where I've paused the video. So if I play this, you'll now hopefully see that the clip changes on the beat. Okay, perfect. So let's now do that for all the clips. So I'm going to hit play again. I'm going to hit pause when I hear the beat. I'm going to click the clip and I'm going to drag the handle to snap it to where I've paused. And it's just a case of doing this for your entire sequence. And now for the last clip. Okay, so perfect. Okay, so at the end of the video, as the drone flies past me, I actually want it to fade to black. I think that would be a really nice, gentle cinematic way to end the sequence. So how do we do that? So I've come to the end of the sequence and I'm going to hit the big red plus and I'm going to hit blank. And then I'm going to trim the blank down just to the end of the song, which you can see by the pink or purple line underneath. And then to make sure that the clip fades to the black, because if I play it at the minute, you can see it just instantly snaps to black. We want it to fade to black. So what you want to do is you want to actually zoom your timeline in a little bit, which you can do by dragging your fingers apart on the timeline, which if I do here, you can see zooms in the timeline. And then if I press off to another clip, you'll see between the clip of the drone flying past me and the blank clip, a little white box. And if I tap that box, you can actually put a transition between your two clips. And I simply want to add the fade transition, which I can do by tapping here and pressing the tick. And now if I play this back, you can see that fades to black really nicely. Okay, so now let's get a little bit more advanced, but I promise you it's not going to be complicated. There's a really nice clip here where I pulled the drone back and gimbaled up towards the horizon at the same time. But the problem is I've trimmed this clip so that it matches up with the beat of the music, but it's actually a little bit too short. There's more of this clip I'd like to get in the sequence. So how are we going to do that? Well, I'm going to add a speed ramp so that the start of the clip starts fast and then it slows back down to normal speed. And this will allow us to get more of that video in that condensed gap. So how do we do that? We select the clip and then we press speed. Now in the standard menu here, you can simply slow down or speed up the entire clip, and you can do that by dragging this slider. But as mentioned, we want it to start fast and then slow back down to normal speed. So to do that, you want to press curve. You want to select the second dot and you want to drag it up to 10 times and move it right to the start. Now as you can see, this gives us this ramp, and if I play it, that looks good, but I'd actually like it to stay faster for longer at the start of the video. So I'm going to select the third dot and I'm going to bring that up to the top, and I'm just going to move that to somewhere like here so that we get a decent amount of the start of the video playing faster, and then it will slow back down to normal speed. So if I play this, I think it looks great. I'm going to hit the tick. Okay, we now want to add the classic cinematic black bars to our sequence. So how do we do that? Go to the start of your project, press the PNP or picture in picture button, press materials, go to the picture option and scroll down until you see the black bars at the bottom. You want to tap this and it will add it on top of your video, but you can see that it's too small. So you want to tap on the scale button on the bottom right of that rectangle, and you want to drag it until it snaps to your entire full screen, which you can see by the red box that went around the outside there. And then we want to make sure that it's over the top of our video for the entire length of our sequence. So we can do that by tapping on the right handle of the black bars in our timeline and press video end. And you can see this now is over our entire video. Okay, now we have our cinematic bars. We want to adjust the framing. Let me show you what I mean. So this first clip looks absolutely fine, but for our second clip, you can see because we've added the cinematic bars, this rock formation looks like it's actually too low down. It's too close to that bottom cinematic bar. So I'd rather it was centered between the bars, and so let's move the video clip up. To do that, simply press the video clip, press canvas, and then you can drag the video up. And if I hit this tick, you can now see that it's centered perfectly in them cinematic bars. Okay, so what would this sequence be without a title? Let's add a really nice title to the start of the video. So I've scrolled all the way back to the beginning of our sequence, and I'm going to press the text option. And I'm going to type in all caps, Sheep Island. Now I'm going to increase the size of this text again by dragging on that scale button on the bottom right of the rectangle. And I'm going to move it up into the sky, just between them two clouds, by dragging up on it. Now you can change the font by pressing this option here. I've went with Bebas. I think it looks great, but you can change it to whatever font you want. And you can also change the color by pressing this color wheel. Again, you can change it to whatever color you want. Black, for example, but I think white looks really nice with the clouds. Now to make this look even more cinematic, we want it to fade in. So you want to press the animation button here, and then you want to tap the fade in transition. And for duration, we want it to be a nice slow fade in. So I'm going to drag this all the way up to 1 second. I'm going to hit that tick, and then I'm going to simply drag the text to end at the end of our first clip. And now if I play this back, you can see that our text fades in really nicely. Let's now add another effect. Looking at this clip here, when watching it back, I've had this idea that it might be really nice to have the camera slowly zoom in at the same time. So it's really straightforward to do. Tap your clip, press filter, go to effect, and I'm going to choose the slow zoom. Now that's way too quick, so I'm going to slow this down, hit play again. That's slightly too slow, so I've moved the value up a bit, and this is perfect. Hit the green tick, and then just make sure that the effect ends at the end of the clip and starts at the start of the clip. And if I play this back now, I think that looks fantastic. Now let's add a filter to our entire sequence to give it a little bit of a color grade. This is really simple to do on InShot. I've went back to the first clip just so we can preview how it looks. I'm going to scroll across and select filter, and then I'm going to press filter. Now you have a range of filters to use on InShot. If you have the premium version, you'll have more available to you. And you can go through and sample these. So this first one gives you this orange and tail effect. Now I don't want it to be as strong as that, so we can slide the intensity down just to get a value we're happy with. Then to make sure it's applied to all our clips, we want to actually tap the two ticks overlapping each other on the left side and hit apply to all. And now we have this color grade applied to all our clips. Now that is an optional step. Maybe you like the natural look and don't want to apply a filter, or maybe you want to go all out and have a really strong filter applied. That is how you do it. Okay, so for our last step before we export the video, I actually want to add a few sound effects just to take this sequence to another level. So as we fly over this cliff edge, I actually want a whoosh sound effect. So I've again went to Epidemic Sound and I've downloaded a whoosh sound effect and I've added it to my iCloud so that I can use it on InShot. And I'm going to scroll just to where I roughly want the clip to be placed. We can finesse the placement in a second. I'm going to press music. This time I'm going to press effects. I'm going to go to import it, and this is the whoosh sound effect. I'm going to press use, and you can now see this on our timeline. So I actually want to go to where I want the whoosh to be. The clip's actually too far back in the timeline, so I'm going to press and hold on it and drag it to where I want the whoosh to start. Actually slightly further forward. I'm going to go back to the start of the clip. I'm going to hit play to preview it. I think it looks great. Actually, I think it's too quiet. So I'm going to press in the clip. I'm going to go to volume, and I'm going to increase the volume to say 130%. I'm going to go back and preview it. I think it looks great. Now for the wave crashing over this rock, I actually again went ahead and downloaded a wave crashing over a rock sound effect. So I'm going to press effects again. I'm going to go to import it. This is the waves crash sound effect. I think it looks great. I'm going to hit use. And again, I'm going to go just to as that wave hits the rock, you can see it there. And I'm going to tap and hold on the waves crash clip and drag it to where the line is in the timeline. And I'm going to hit play. Okay, I think that sounds fantastic, but it's slightly too loud. So I'm going to turn this clip down by tapping the waves crash, going to volume, and lowering that to maybe 75%. So this is our entire sequence now done. All it's left to do is to export it. Now, if you're using the free InShot trial, you will have an InShot logo on your video. You can simply tap this and press remove once to remove it. If you're using the premium version, you won't have that. And to export, you simply want to tap the export button on the top right, and you want to make sure your resolution is in 4K. The frame rate is going to be 30 FPS because that's what we filmed all the clips in, and you simply want to hit save. And after a few minutes, your sequence will be ready to go. You can preview it by tapping the play button on the top. Or if you want to upload it straight to Instagram, for example, you can do that by pressing Instagram, or put it straight on YouTube by tapping the YouTube option. Or if you want to upload it to something like iCloud to get it on your other devices, you can do that by tapping Other. So there you have it. That's how you create a cinematic nature B-roll sequence using your drone, and then edit it using your iPhone and the InShot app. Now, if you've liked this video and you've learned something new, please let me know by giving me the thumbs up and clicking that like button down below. If you haven't subscribed yet, why not? Click that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. Now, if you love all things drones, DJI Mini 3, DJI Mini 2, Mavic 3, maybe you've just received a new drone and you want to know how to get better photos and more cinematic videos with your drone, then I recommend you check out my channel where I have a ton of other content to help you level up your drone game. If you want to stick around and see a few more of them videos now, I recommend watching these ones. I'll not keep you back any further. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you over there.